Seattle Seahawks Today is made possible by our friends over at Magic Spoon. I've got myself a bowl of the frosted right here. Smells and tastes incredible, and it's got 0 grams of sugar. Head over to magicspoon.com/Seahawks to get $5 off your first order while I have a little bit of my lunch early before we get going on today's show. We've got some Seahawks news and rumors to discuss on today's video, and perhaps none more noteworthy and potentially impactful than Geno Atkins. Could the former Bengals defensive tackle be coming to Seattle like his old teammate Carlos Dunlap once did? Of course, that one was via trade. Atkins visiting the Seahawks on Monday, has already worked out for the team. We'll get more in depth on that in a second. And this would bring Atkins to Seattle to reunite with Carlos Dunlap and give the Seahawks some added depth at a potential position of concern, namely the defensive tackle position. Now, here's what Josina Anderson tweeted out moments before we started filming today. Quote, "I'm told free agent DT Geno Atkins worked out well for the Seahawks already today. And at this point, it's up to him and how much per source." Now, I think that source comes from Seattle, and it really boils down to a contract situation for Atkins. I don't think he's worth very much money. And this is a former 2-time All-Pro. I get that. But the Atkins we've seen over the past 2 years hasn't been that good. And this is not the same player that we are so accustomed to seeing be an impact player, be a huge, one of the best defensive tackle in the NFL. That's not who he is at this point in the NFL. He's no longer that guy. He's not going to be a dominant defensive tackle, but he can contribute as a veteran defensive interior option. And I think Seattle could use that. What's intriguing to me is figuring out how the rotation could work out. Now, Poona Ford, all aboard his hype train. LJ Collier, I think, will play plenty at defensive tackle and get some 5-tech reps as well when they use their more bare, almost 3-4 front-looking units. Al Woods is a veteran run stopper. Brian Monet is a younger run stopper. Rasheem Green is a piece. I don't know if Robert Nkemdiche is going to be anything in the NFL at this point. There is room for another veteran pass rusher, and I think interior pass rusher. I think Atkins could maybe be that guy. I don't think Poona Ford is going to suddenly cede snaps to Atkins. Ford's this team's #1 defensive tackle. Played a lot of nose guard for Seattle. He'll probably get some more 3-tech looks this year. Maybe when Al Woods is out there with him. Maybe you got a 5-technique package for LJ Collier, and you could have this unit out there in run-stopping situations. Al Woods, Poona Ford, LJ Collier, and then maybe you throw Dunlap and Kerry Hyder as your edges. Maybe you mix in Benson Mayowa there too. That's an intriguing group. Of course, Darrell Taylor will also get edge work at strong side linebacker. I don't think the interest in Atkins is necessarily an indictment, by the way, against LJ Collier, who, again, I want to see play that 3-technique role for Seattle. That's what I want him to be this season, at least get some more reps in that area. But depth is an area of concern for defensive tackle, and if you can find a good veteran to help you out there and be cheap and contribute and be a good locker room guy and give you a handful of sacks and tackles over the season, it's got some value. So what do you guys think? Assuming the contract is reasonable, which I think it's going to be, do you want to sign Geno Atkins? Get your votes in for me. Y for yes, you do. N for no, you do not. I lean more towards yes, the contract is right, but I want to hear from you guys. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down, and let me know. Time now for some injury conversation and then some potential results or changes you could see as an indication of all those injury moves. Now, Ben Burr-Kirven, unfortunately, is injured, and his season is already over for Seattle. A very big disappointment. Tore his ACL during Saturday's game against the Denver Broncos. A very disappointing development there. A former 5th-round pick. He was primed to be, if you include Darrell Taylor as one of the linebackers there, kind of felt like your pecking order was going to be Wagner, Brooks, Taylor. Maybe Alton Robinson does get some work there as a backup edge, strong side, outside linebacker guy. And now, unfortunately, Burr-Kirven's season is over. A very disappointing development for the Seahawks. Now, Burr-Kirven was never going to be more than a depth defensive lineman. That was just, or linebacker. That was just the reality of the situation. But now Burr-Kirven, it hasn't been made official yet as we sit here filming this, but he is going to go on IR for Seattle. That's what's going to happen here. Burr-Kirven's season is over, and that does change the situation for Seattle. We mentioned Nick Bellore playing a big role there. Ben Burr-Kirven's season is now over. I wonder if Bellore will end up getting some more reps at linebacker in terms of the off-ball guy, that strong side linebacker role. Darrell Taylor, Alton Robinson specifically, those guys are more edges. It's the off-ball linebackers, and not included is Lakeem Williams, but he's not going to make the team. It's thin there. Your off-ball linebacking room right now is Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks, Cody Barton, Aaron Donkor, who's going to be a practice squad guy, I promise you. Is Sean Radigan going to make the team? Yeah, you can make Nick Bellore there, but all of a sudden, if he's kind of your fourth off-ball linebackers, Taylor and Robinson are not going to play that role. A little bit thin there. So maybe, just maybe, you could bring back K.J. Wright. I don't think it ends up happening because I think that Wright wants to have a bigger role, and even right now he'd end up being linebacker 4 for Seattle because they want it to be Wagner and Brooks and Taylor. One of those guys get hurt, different conversation. Even though I have interest in K.J. Wright, I just don't know in the end if Seattle feels the exact same way. So let's say, hypothetically, you could only pick one of these guys to sign. Now, you don't have to do that necessarily, but hypothetically play along with me in my games here. Pick one to sign for me. Type GA for Geno Atkins, or type in KW for KJ Wright. Get your votes in right now. Lucky for you, you guys don't have to choose between healthy cereal and great tasting cereal. Magic Spoon provides both. High in protein, low in carbs, 0 grams of net sugar, despite tasting just like the sugary stuff we all grew up with. So get $5 off your first order of Magic Spoon when you go to magicspoon.com/Seahawks. And there will be, by the way, folks, a clickable link for you guys in the comment section and in the description. A ton of delicious flavors, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cocoa, new flavors like cookies and cream, or not new, returning flavors like cookies and cream and maple waffle. There's something for you as it relates to Magic Spoon. So go try it out. Get a box or maybe 4 of them at magicspoon.com/Seahawks. That's magicspoon.com/Seahawks. Let's talk trade rumors now. They're back. How about going after a wide receiver? This idea comes to us from Bleacher Report. They went through one trade each team should make before the season. Their suggested move for Seattle? Well, go trade for Sterling Shepard. Their proposal was Seattle gives up a day 3 draft pick, which I do think is about the right value for Shepard in a potential trade for the different team. Now, there are some problems here. Number one, Kadarius Toney is in a weird spot with New York, and they might need Shepard to still start. Also, money is a big-time problem here for Shepard and for Seattle. If Seattle were to trade for him, they would owe him almost $7 million. The next 2 years of his contract, not guaranteed, but it balloons to $8 and $9+ million. That's a lot of money to pay for a guy that would be wide receiver 3 on this team. 66 grabs, 656 yards, 3 scores. I think that's about in line with what you could expect if Shepard were to be traded to the Seahawks. But is that really what you need right now at that contract cost if you're Seattle? I'm not so sure. What do you guys think, though? Would you trade for Sterling Shepard? Get your votes in for me. 1, yes, you would. 2, for no, you would not. I'm about to break down my reasoning. I lean more towards 2, and that's a no from me, man. Now, the receiving room right now for Seattle, knowing that although it's not listed on the depth chart yet, John URSUA's season is over. He's done. He's going to go to IR. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Dwayne Eskridge, Freddie Swain are roster locks. That leaves 2, maybe 3 spots for some combination of Penny Hart and Kay Johnson. Maybe you try and stash Connor Wentz on the practice squad for a year. Aaron Fuller, Cody Thompson in that mix as well. The concern that was laid out by Bleacher Report, and I get it, is Dwayne Eskridge, the team's second-round pick out of Western Michigan, still playing catch-up, was injured for a lot of the preseason and training camp, is still behind. They also spent a late day 3 pick on Freddie Swain, more recently out of Florida. That was the year before they took Dwayne Eskridge, who showed the occasional flash here and there. For a team that also has 2 good tight ends, they can use multiple tight end sets. Provided one of Eskridge Swain is healthy week 1, which I think is the case, I don't think they need a wide receiver 3. And if they want one, just bring back Josh Gordon, you know? And then I also did want to make note of John URSUA. This has been confirmed by URSUA. Torn ACL in week 2. Brutal development there. So yes, the injuries are there for Seattle. I don't think going out and getting a Sterling Shepard, though, at his contract cost currently is all that needed. Now, if the Seahawks do make a big-time move, trade, or even just roster cuts, which should be coming soon, I'll let you guys know. Hit that big red button and subscribe for daily videos on the Seattle Seahawks right here at Seattle Seahawks Today.